Okay, so maybe let's start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, okay, so we'll continue from where we stopped last time, and we are still in the Kusala, in the explanation of what is Kusalatika and the states of Kusalatika. We already looked at the all kinds of different minds, the different chittas, and we started with Chetasikas. So we'll just go through the list without going into details, really, just to get an idea what kind of states of occurring in mind we define as Chetasikas. So we looked last time at the universal Chetasikas, the ones that occur with every kind of consciousness. So we always have these seven, always, every moment when we are conscious, when there is consciousness. So there is contact, there is feeling. We discussed feeling in quite a detail. There is perception, there is intention, there is one-pointedness, there is life faculty, and there is attention. Okay, and sometimes there can be application. Application means the initial application of the mind to the object. Or there can be sustainment, that means the sustainment of the mind on the object, remaining with the object. Okay, there may be decision, there may be energy, there may be rapture, and there may be wish to do, wish to act. This can occur with different kinds of consciousness, with wholesome, unwholesome, or with indeterminate consciousness, but they don't occur with every kind of consciousness, unlike the first seven. Okay, and then the next list is those Chetasikas that can occur with wholesome mind and with indeterminate mind. Okay, but Kusala and Avyakata Chittas. That's Sada, confidence. Confidence means basically in commentaries they defined confidence as confidence in triple gem, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, but I think more broadly would say it's a confidence in what is wholesome, confidence in that something is wholesome, that is enough for you to actually to do that wholesome act. And sati is mindfulness, and so we in the first lecture we saw this term, so it means non-forgetfulness of your object, of your meditation object. Hiri, moral shame, otapa, moral fear. So these are moral shame means you're ashamed to do unwholesome action, and it's not the shame that that actually is unwholesome, but it's a shame of doing unwholesome action. And moral fear, you're afraid of maybe to be caught, or somebody will find out that that you're doing something unwholesome, right? And aloba is non-greed, and we have non-hatred, we have equanimity, tranquility of mental factors and chitta, the lightness of mental factors and chitta, pliancy of mental factors and chitta, adaptability of mental factors and chitta, proficiency of mental factors and chitta, and rectitude of mental factors and chitta. And we have right speed, right action, and right livelihood, which are basically the abstinences from wrong speech, from wrong action, and from wrong livelihood. And there is compassion, there is sympathetic joy, and there is wisdom. So this can occur with wholesome mind and indeterminate mind. But for us, when we know that these are occurring for normal people, basically when we know these are there, that means the mind is wholesome. Because otherwise, when we are talking about them occurring in indeterminate mind, that means that can be either kiriya, which arise in the mental process of arahants. So we are not arahants, I believe. So that doesn't apply. Or this arise in the resultant consciousness, which are either in form of bhavanga, the very, very subtle consciousness, which normally we cannot discern. Only if you have deep meditation and you follow a systematic practice, you are able to discern that. But in normal conditions, if we notice this, that means the mind is wholesome. Okay, so, and then we have another 14 unwholesome mental factors. So these are delusion, which is the first four actually: delusion, shamelessness, moral fearlessness, and restlessness. They occur in all unwholesome consciousness. And then we have greed, we have wrong view, conceit, hatred, envy, possessiveness, worry or remorse, sloth, laziness, torpor, tiredness, and skeptical doubt. So whenever this occurs, you need to say, if you know these are in your mind, it means the mind is unwholesome. So the Buddha's teaching is to abandon all, to eradicate all what is unwholesome, and to develop whatever is wholesome. So when you know that you have one of these states, that means you should make the right effort to abandon. They've already arisen. You try to abandon them, and you try to arouse whatever is wholesome, those wholesome states that we named before. Okay, so this is about the Chaitasikas occurring in the divided into kinds as being wholesome, unwholesome, and indeterminate. Okay, so we can go to the next section. Well, Panhavara, it says Kusalatika, it says Panhavara. Panhavara actually is the 7th chapter of this division of Patana. And what's it? Let's see. Okay. Here. Okay. Yes. So it's in English. It's translated as investigation chapter. And here, what is emphasized is how a conditioning state brings about a conditioned state. So Patana basically deals with 4 main concepts. Okay, the conditions. In Patana we are talking about 24 kinds of conditions, which we will go through one by one, explaining what they mean. These are kind of modes of relation between different phenomena. So we have one phenomenon, we can have another phenomenon. We look at how they relate, how they condition each other. Then in this set of phenomena, we can determine which is actually a conditioning state, which conditions something, and which is conditioned state, conditioned by that conditioning state. And behind this conditioning, there is a certain conditioning force, which we name according to the condition which we are talking about. So conditions can be of different type. They can be either producing. That means they can, when something arises, it causes something else to arise. That means it's a producing cause. Just like from a seed, a tree sprouts. Okay, so we need a seed, and then it becomes a cause for arising something that there was not before. A tree comes to be. Then it can be supporting or maintaining. That means that both dhammas are already there, but the conditioning state supports the existence, and it maintains the existence of the conditioned state. So these are kind of mainly 2 main modes, how patana, how conditions work. Okay, so as I said, in this 7th chapter, the emphasis is on the conditioning state. And we're looking, so if there is this conditioning state, what conditioned state can be. In the previous 6 chapters, the situation was opposite. The text looks into conditioned states. So when there are these conditioned states, so what are the conditions? What are conditions necessary for this conditioned state to be? Okay, so Patana is very much about different combinations. We take things in combination to see how they relate to each other. And it's not simply that we take just how wholesome states relate to wholesome states, unwholesome. We also take combination of both. So theoretically, we could have like wholesome, unwholesome, indeterminate. We could have wholesome, unwholesome, or wholesome, indeterminate, unwholesome, indeterminate, and wholesome, unwholesome, indeterminate. And then we could try and see how wholesome is related to unwholesome, or how wholesome is related to indeterminate, how wholesome is related to wholesome, unwholesome, and one by one. So different combinations. So in this way, basically we can form 49 combinations, theoretically. But in reality, wholesome and unwholesome never occur together. So these are opposite natures. They cannot be together. If you have one, you cannot have another at the same moment. That's why number 4 and number 7 goes away, and only 5 remain: wholesome, unwholesome, indeterminate, wholesome, indeterminate, unwholesome, indeterminate. So when we combine these 5, we get only 25 possibilities. And even though in this chapter there are no questions formed explicitly, but implicitly from the text, we see that we could formulate questions to which answers we are giving. So, for example, a question could be: may wholesome Dhamma, may Kusala Dhamma be related to wholesome Dhamma by root condition? So that's one possible question. Okay, so and we can ask one by one: may wholesome Dhamma be related to unwholesome Dhamma by root condition? May wholesome Dhamma be related to indeterminate Dhamma by root condition? Blah, blah, blah. 25 questions. So we can formulate them, but the text doesn't do that. What it does, it just gives you the answers, and it just gives the answers which actually exist, which are actually possible. So, for example, for root condition, there are 7 possible answers only out of 25. So when we read text, it will become quite clear. So the first condition that the Patana that our chapter starts with is root condition. And to understand this condition, we have to understand what are the roots. Okay, so it's called root condition or hetupacha. Okay, so what are the roots? Sorry. Okay, so there are 6 dhammas that are called roots. On the unwholesome side, they are greed, hatred, and delusion. On the wholesome side, they are non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. Okay, in Pali, lobha, dosa, moha, akusala. And on kusala side, we have alobha, adosa, amoha. I don't know if you have heard this before, but these are quite important for us. It's really important because they are like roots. They are fortifying whatever states occur with them. They make them strong, and they provide, like roots, provide sap and nutriment to the whole of the tree. So say if the roots are unwholesome, not healthy, then the whole tree is likewise, and opposite. So we have to take care. And in Patana, usually when we are talking about the roots, we are talking only about the states that occur at the same time with the roots. So when greed arises, it becomes a root condition for all the other states that arise together with it. Or in the same manner, when the hatred arises, it becomes a root condition for all other states that arise together with it. And now, since we are here, let's take a closer look to what these roots actually mean, what these states mean. So it doesn't mean that it's just, say, non-greed, say, for aloba. I like to start with the wholesome side always. So that non-greed is aloba only. The aloba is only non-greed, or dosa is only non-hatred, or moha is only non-delusion. It can be different manifestations, different manifestations, different degree of expression. Say, aloba can manifest as unselfishness, liberality, generosity, thoughts and actions of sacrifice and sharing, and renunciation and dispassion. And adosa can manifest as loving kindness, compassion, well, yes, sympathy, friendliness, forgiveness, forbearance. And loving kindness, actually, which is known as metta, you know this word, is, as a chitasika, it's a dosa, but not every time when a dosa, non-hatred, arises in the mind, it's not necessarily is metta. But if metta is there, means, yeah, that is non-hatred. Okay, there is non-hatred. And for amoha, it's wisdom, insight, knowledge, understanding, intelligence, impartiality, right? This kind of manifestations. And it's interesting that in Abhidhamma text, like in Dhammasangani that I mentioned in the first lecture, where the definitions actually are given, when the states are described, the aloba and adosa are given very little space. And for amoha is described in many synonyms. Because usually the method of Dhammasangani is giving synonyms for the state. So we can see that aloba is defined as greedlessness, desirelessness, being desireless, being without desire, non-attachment, having no attachment, okay, being without attachment. It all means the same. It just says the same thing in different words. Okay, so adosa, non-hatred, hatelessness, being without hatred, absence of ill will, without ill will, all same, non-hatred. Okay, so what's for moha? We see that it's called wisdom, actually, that which at that time is wisdom, so amoha. Sort of understanding, scrutiny of impermanence and other characteristics of phenomena, comprehensive scrutiny, investigative knowledge of the Dhamma, right observation of impermanence, etc., close observation, direct observation, erudition, proficiency, refinement in knowledge, discriminative knowledge, reflection, comparative examination, breadth of knowledge, wisdom that destroys defilements, penetrative wisdom, insight, clear comprehension, wisdom like a guiding goat, wisdom as the faculty of wisdom, power of wisdom, wisdom like a sword, wisdom like a tower, wisdom like light, wisdom like radiance, wisdom like a torch, wisdom like a jewel, non-bewilderment, investigative knowledge of the Dhamma, right view. So all these are moha. So I think this, the length of this description shows how much importance actually in the tradition is given to non-delusion. Really, for us, it's very important to develop the wisdom, because it is the wisdom that actually cuts the defilements, the wisdom that brings about the liberation. So we can see it here very clearly. And then when we look at the commentary of this text, so the way of giving definitions to the dhammas is different, and there we find such thing as characteristic, function, manifestation, and proximate cause. And so we can quickly look what are characteristics of non-greed? It's non-sticking. So you don't stick. The mind doesn't stick to the object, like a drop of water to a petal of lotus. And its function is not to grasp, like liberated monk. Liberated monk doesn't grasp other things, and it manifests as a state of non-adhering, basically, like a state of non-sticking. Okay, like a man falling into dirt. When we fall into dirt, we really don't want to be there. No, we really don't want. We are not clinging to that dirt, right? We want to get out of the dirt. So that means not adhering to that. Okay, so then adosa has a characteristic of absence of aggression, non-opposing, like an agreeable friend. And it has a function to remove anger, to remove burning of mind. And it manifests as pleasantness. Okay, and amoha has a characteristic of knowing and functions like a light to illuminate the object, like a lamp. And it manifests as absence of confusion, okay, like a good guide in the forest. So these are wholesome roots and the definition in the text. Now we can take a look at the unwholesome one. Okay, the loba dosa moha. Maybe we are, I don't know, maybe we are more familiar with this from our practice. And again, it can be have so many different manifestations. And see, loba is, liking is loba, wishing is loba, longing is loba, fondness is loba, affection, attachment, lust, cupidity, craving, passion, self-indulgence, desire for the sense objects, desire for wealth or any kind of desires, offspring, fame. So dosa can manifest like disgust, dislike, revulsion, resentment, grudge, ill humor, vexation, irritability, antagonism, aversion, anger, wrath, vengefulness, the whole range from very subtle, maybe just dislike, and just maybe you won't even admit yourself that you have a dislike, or it can be really a rage. So all is dosa. And moha is stupidity, dullness, confusion, ignorance. Right, so again, when we look at the definition in Dhammasangani, we see that the first two, they are described basically by giving synonyms which don't add much information to the name, really. Greed, greediness, being greedy, attachment, being attached, having attachment, covetousness. Okay. And dosa is having hatred, and given to hatred, being upset, getting upset. And so when we're upset, it's dosa. Okay, it's unwholesome state of mind. And opposition, repeated opposition, rudeness. Anger hindering coherent speech. That's probably when you're so angry that you cannot even say what you want to say. No? Displeasure. You're just dissatisfied with the situation. Okay, and moha is again, it's opposite of, moha is opposite of moha, and you can see a long list that it's in ignorance, and it's not seeing the truth, and incomprehension, misapprehension. So it will be all negative of the amoha. Lack of penetrative knowledge, inability to grasp well, inability to grasp completely. So the same as we've seen, but all opposite. Lack of clear comprehension, bewilderment, yes, yoke of ignorance, latent tendency of ignorance. Okay, and in terms of description as to characteristic and manifestation, and function and proximate cause, loba has a characteristic of grasping an object. So grasp the object, it doesn't want to let go. Its function is to stick, just like meat to a hot pan. And it manifests as not giving up. Like a lamp black dye that gives the simile, commentary gives the simile. So just like a diamond, they dye a cloth, yeah. You cannot take it just simply, it sticks. Okay, and if perceiving gratification in the 10 fetters, it's is proximate cause. When we see, when we look at everything as being, actually the existence as being gratifying, it is a proximate cause for lobha to arise. So when we forget that, what is life? Life is dukkha. Okay. And hatred has a characteristic of ferocity, like a stricken snake. So you hit a snake, or yeah. So that's how dosa is, and its function is to spread like poison. So, and to burn its own support. So it's like fire. So when we are angry, maybe we know the temperature goes up of the body, and we are burning. We are on fire, and not only we are burning others, we're also burning ourselves. So it burns its own support, and its manifestation is hate, like an enemy. It's really like an enemy to ourselves, really. Being angry means being an enemy to oneself. And the basis for anger, that means the object or whatever situation is there for anger, is its proximate cause. And delusion has a characteristic of blindness of consciousness, or not knowing, function not to penetrate, or to hide the intrinsic nature of an object. And its manifestation is darkness, and improper attention is its proximate cause. So delusion is the root of all our being, really, in samsara, even all the unpleasant states. And so this is how we get the definition in Abhidhamma. I also came across a very interesting facts in the in Abhidhamma in Atasalini. Okay. I'm not sure if you can see this this window which popped up here. I don't want to upgrade anything. Leave it free. Oh, sorry. So we have 10 minutes. Okay, so I will share with you these really nice advantages of wholesome rules, or dhammas connected with the wholesome roots. This comes from Atasalini, actually, the commentary to Dhammasangala. And I think it's very beautiful. It doesn't talk about how these roots affect the immediate states with which they arise, but we can see the effects, how they manifest in time. Well, both, actually, we can say both. So say alobha is opposed to the taint of avarice, and adosa is opposed to taint of immorality, and amoha is opposed to undeveloped state of kusala dhamma. So when we have amoha, when we have wisdom, it's opposing to our wholesome dhammas being in undeveloped state. So it promotes the development of kusala dhamma. Okay, and alobha becomes a condition for giving, and adosa becomes a condition for being virtuous, because whenever we break our sila, mostly it will be because of hatred. It can be lobha as well, but mostly it will be because of hatred, not liking, dissatisfaction with something. Okay, and the amoha is a condition for development. And when we have alobha, we don't have sorrow from separation from the beloved. Because we have alobha, we are not clinging to what is around us. We are not clinging to others. So when we are separated with them, there is no suffering arising. And adosa gives us freedom from sorrow of association with unbeloved. Because we have adosa, we don't have those whom we would classify for unbeloved. We don't have dosita with anybody. So there is no this kind of dukkha arising. no sorrow from association with unbeloved. And amoha becomes gives us freedom from sorrow on account of not getting what one desires. Because amoha means we understand things are impermanent. So even if we don't get what we want, we understand, well, anyway, it's all impermanent. So we don't get dukkha on account of this. Okay, so through alobha, one can see fault as such. That means that, you know, there is no perfect object. There is nothing is perfect. But say when we have greed, say we like someone, we have greed, we like someone. Maybe we have affection for someone. So usually when one falls in love, he can see only all the best things about his object. He will not see the fault. So lobha is covering the fault of that object. So when one has alobha, he is able to see faults as they are. He's able to see the object fully. So in the same way, when one has adosa, he can see the virtue as such. So even in enemies or in someone who is in opposition to one, one will be able to see not just the things that he doesn't like, because there is adosa. He will be able also to give, to see whatever good the object has, the person has. So, and amoha, well, needless to say, it helps to see the reality as such, as it is, impermanent, suffering, and see that it's not of self. Okay, so alobha, through alobha, there is no suffering of birth. That means alobha is actually synonymous, well, lobha is synonymous with tanha craving. And tanha craving is a condition actually which propels the round of rebirth. So if there is alobha, so there is no tanha, so there is no condition which brings about the suffering of the rebirth. And adosa gives us, well, through adosa there is no suffering of aging. That means that when one is angry, okay, so as we said, he's burning oneself, and by burning oneself, he's getting older quicker. You know, more gray hair and more wrinkles. Dosa just makes one age much faster. So if one has adosa, through adosa, one is free from suffering of aging, well, or quick aging, let's say so, or too rapid aging. And amoha, through amoha, there is no suffering of dying. That means, what is the main suffering in dying, actually? The main suffering is the confusion. When one is dying, when one is about to pass away, and one is in a confused state, he doesn't know, he may be worrying about what will be, how will be, and what I have done, or whatever, many kinds of worries, and he's not mindful. So a lot of suffering for that. But through amoha, through wisdom, one is free from this kind of suffering when he's dying. And alobha makes life happy among lay people. So obviously, when you're sharing all with each other, it makes life happy. And amoha makes life happy among monks and ascetics, because, you know, the religious people, they may think a lot about different kinds of philosophies, and may have all their own views and argue about different kinds of views, and that's surely not a condition for happiness. But when there is no moha, when there is enough wisdom, so that's not the situation that we find. So it makes life happy among monks and ascetics. And adosa, well, if there is no hatred, that's a condition of happy life among all beings. And through aloba, there is no rebirth in realm of ghost. Yeah, so it's in craving, intense craving becomes it's quite likely to lead into realm of. Oh, we have less than 1 minute, so we will stop here then, and we'll continue next time with this table, with this beautiful table. And once I maybe during the week I will upload this video, and you can share with others also. So wishing you a good Sunday, and okay, bye bye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I think that aloba, dosa, and mocha makes life happy among all.
Thank you, Pia.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Just, Pia,
Yes?
can I ask you by the chat something?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, it's just probably everybody knows about that, but well, we still have a minute. Well, it's
I think
about
it's less than a minute.
all these things that you are putting in the screen. Is among the material that you have sent us?
It's in the Google Drive.
It's in the drive. Okay, okay. I probably use. I'm full of moha probably, and I have no. But I will try my best. Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Pia.
Okay. Have a good day.
See you next week.
See you.